Alright, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC Vegas 67. This one is the recently announced, as in an hour ago, new main event between Sean Strickland and Nassourdine Imavov at middleweight. Strickland going to have a 1 inch advantage in reach, though Imavov is 2 inches taller. Imavov also about 5 years younger than Strickland. And yeah, this is a fun fight. I thought that Gastelum versus Imavov seemed like everybody was on Imavov in that one, and it was hard not to pick him just because of where Kelvin's at and how sluggish he kind of looks in these fights, even though he does have a chin. So I think this one is a lot more interesting, and the line reflects that. If you look here on Best Fight Odds, it's opening as a pick'em. That actually surprised me a little bit. I was thinking that Imavov would open up as a little bit wider of a favorite, just because he seems to be, I don't want to call him the most hyped prospect in this division, but he seems to be the next guy who's knocking on the door of that top five status. So without rambling on anymore, I will start with him. So for Imavov, this is a big step up for him. This is his first main event, and I'm curious to see how he does in this 5 round spot, because he's looked great to this point, mostly great. That loss against Phil Hawes, a lot of clinch in that one. Very boring fight. Phil Hawes just pushed him into the clinch and pushed him into the fence, and Imavov was just not able to get out of it. He loses that one. But other than that, these past 3 fights, he's done a lot to generate hype. Knocks out Ian Heinisch in the second round. Edmund Shabazian just batters him on the feet and then finishes him on the ground. Really bloody fight for Edmund, at least. Finishes it from the mounted crucifix position. So, yeah, good record here for Imavov. That last win against Buckley, same deal, unanimous decision, kind of a back and forth fight. But, stylistically, he's got Dagestani heritage. I know he trains out of France, but he doesn't wrestle. He is a kickboxer, very shifty kickboxer, a lot of stance switches, and just what you'd expect from a guy like this. Very in and out, fast, good punches, good jab, good leg kicks, mixes it up well, and just very elusive and fast. He's just been outclassing a lot of these guys on the feet, and when he does have the grappling advantage, he's used it and then some, like against Edmund. The only downside is he has shown an ability, at least in his career, to get controlled in the clinch and controlled on the ground, which is funny because of that heritage, like I was saying. But it has been a problem for him in the past. I don't think he's going to have to worry about it in this fight, because Sean Strickland is probably just going to do what he always does. But I was slightly worried about it in the Kelvin fight, but I just didn't think he would have the cardio to be able to chase after him for 5 rounds and land some meaningful scoring with the takedowns. In this one, I don't think he'll have to worry about it. But, with Sean Strickland, like I said, he's just going to do the same thing pretty much every fight, even though he is a more well-rounded fighter. He has good wrestling, he has good takedown defense, but he just primarily likes to march forward with his hands low and just throw 1-2s, just pops the jab out the entire time. When he gets into a rhythm, we see how effective it is against Uriah Hall, just crowds him, doesn't stop throwing, and takes that one home by unanimous decision pretty easily. And, Sean Strickland got to be one of the easiest fighters to tape, because he just does the same thing. It's to his detriment in a lot of these fights. The Jared Cannonier fight, just so close, like one of the closer fights in recent times, and I thought that Jared Cannonier just edged it out just a little bit more, because he just landed the more impactful strikes. There might have been a few rounds where Strickland outlanded him, and you just got to give it to him based on volume alone, but he just doesn't stop with these 1-2s no matter what's happening. His corner in the last one was calling for more front kicks to the body. It makes a lot of sense to mix it up, but he just doesn't. It's just the 1-2s, and he typically has success with it. Against Jared Cannonier, it's funny, like, the middleweight division just seems to be the most definitive 1-2-3. Everybody beats everybody below them pretty comfortably, and Jared Cannonier has handled everybody not ranked number 3 in middleweight. I mean, I forget how the rankings are. I guess it's Robert Whittaker's number 1, Cannonier's 2. I mean, the UFC rankings don't mean shit. It's just like, what tier are you in? But, Jared Cannonier has, I think, solidified himself as, like, the 3rd best middleweight, and it was a close fight. He does know how to kind of navigate a fight like this. He's not dependent on just getting backed up. And then against Alex Bahia, Strickland just walks right into the right hand, just gets put out pretty bad, but not bad enough because he's back in the octagon again. I can't remember a time where somebody has headlined back-to-back fight night cards, but he's going to be doing it. But yeah, you look at the record prior to these last couple fights, these last few main events he's had. He took care of Uriah Hall very easily. Christoph Jocko, Brendan Allen knocks him out in a fight that Brendan Allen was definitely favored in. So he's been winning fights. He's very game. It's just like there's not much to tape. I mean, there's plenty to tape. It's just like there's not. You don't have to get too crazy with the analysis with Sean Strickland. He's just gonna say here it is. Try to stop it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. In this one though, I gotta go with. I guess I'm gonna take a shot on Sean Strickland because the whole time with Imavov versus Strickland, I feel like, Gastelum, I feel like a whole aspect that people aren't really talking about here is like this is a big jump up fight for him. He's jumping into that like I don't know if you can call Strickland like a top 5 tier fighter, but at middleweight maybe you can. It definitely feels like a tier jump for Nassourdine Imavov because he lacks like that signature win. Like he has good wins, but not on the level of a Sean Strickland or even a Kelvin Gastelum. So I feel like that gives me pause. And also, I think that Sean Strickland is going to be able to just march forward and impose some offense here. He might lose the first couple rounds, but I'm curious to see if Strickland can just push his pace on him. What happens in the third, fourth, and fifth round if Nassourdine Imavov can stand up to it, because he might be on his bike a lot in this fight and he might have success with that early, but if it's unproven late, I'm just going to go with Sean Strickland. Really could go either way. I think Nassourdine Imavov has a way higher ceiling, but just for right now, this could be a tricky matchup for Imavov's style. He's not like a decision bender where he is just going to go backwards the whole time. He's going to have to go backwards out of necessity in this one, I think, but he's not one of these guys that just accepts going backwards. He will use some of his own offense, and as we've seen, Sean Strickland, his head movement can be suspect, and he just locks into this like NPC type movement, and he could get his head taken clean off if Imavov is able to make a read. So really could go either way, but I'm going to take a shot on Sean Strickland. In terms of betting, I don't really know at those odds. I might just stay away from it, but if it's like looking like a close fight and where Imavov is up after the first couple rounds, we can get Strickland at like plus 200 or something, I might take a stab just seeing if Imavov will fade late if Strickland just keeps his jab in his face the whole time. So yeah, fun fight. Looking forward to this one. And not a ton of betting angles outright for me at least, but should be a fun fight. So thanks for watching, guys. Sure to subscribe and take it easy.